So you damaged your SUP board and you need to make a repair, but you have no clue how to lay fiberglass. Well, I was in that same exact boat a few weeks ago, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I did, and it's really simple, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, and I hope this video helps somebody else out there in order to help them make a repair to their own SUP board and not have to pay somebody or wait a long time to get back floating. So this is the stuff that I used right here. It's PT39 Z-epoxy. Comes in this box right here. That's all you need. It was a lot cheaper than the marine grade stuff that I found, and the bottles were a lot more of a smaller size here. I didn't need a half a gallon of resin and hardener, and I wasn't looking at spending $100, $150 for that expensive stuff. So start with this stuff right here. Now you need this. You need fiberglass. I got this from a hardware store. It's just basic fiberglass. Some brushes here, some foam brushes. I'll get to that in a little bit. Some denatured alcohol. I got these from Harbor Freight. It's just a bunch of brushes. It was like $4 or $5. Looks like a lot of stuff, guys, but it really isn't. A lot of this stuff was really cheap. Craft sticks, I got those from Walmart. Paint, this is acrylic paint. Got that from Walmart, 50 cents each. Sandpaper, this is, I wanna say this is 80 grit. This is I'm pretty sure this is 80 grit right here, the sponge type. This is 120, 180 grit sandpaper sponge. Maybe a pencil and maybe an X-Acto knife there. These are little cups. You can get these from Walmart too. It's just like for mouthwash, for rinsing or whatever. Buy these things to mix your epoxy. You can also use some gloves, maybe some of these cups if you want. I didn't really use this. I used these small ones to mix the epoxy. I also forgot, yeah, these are like these are little spreaders that I bought from Harbor Freight too for like $1 or $2. I was using this when I was laying the fiberglass to kind of spread the epoxy resin into all of the holes and kind of press the bubbles out. So definitely get something like this. Now, I have no experience doing glass either. So here's what I recommend, guys. Practice and practice on just like a piece of wood or something. That's exactly what I did here. This is just a little scrap piece of wood, and that's a piece of fiberglass there, and this is where I was practicing and with the epoxy. You can see how it's, you know, I laid it in there, and then I even sanded this one down just to see what the texture and the finish would look like. And then I even put some of this acrylic paint here, and it sticks on there really nice. The paint stick to it really nice. So once I knew this is the, you know, this, I mean, this is solid. It's in there tight. So the way this epoxy works, it's real simple. You just need a 50-50 mix. That's all you need. This is the resin, this is the hardener. So you just squirt a little bit in here on the bottom, put a little bit of resin in there, put a little bit of hardener. Use one of these popsicle sticks to just stir it around a little bit, mix it up, and you're done. That's it. You cut your piece of glass, and then you just kind of lay it on there. You just kind of spread it on with the stick. Actually, the way I did it was, yeah, I used the popsicle stick to kind of spread it on the fiberglass and then lay the fiberglass down. It's really easy, guys. There's nothing really too complex about it. I think the hardest part was actually prepping my SUP board. So this is my SUP board here, prepping the area that I was repairing. And that was the toughest part because I had to take the sandpaper to my board. And I recommend not using any power tools at all, 100%. Don't use power tools, just go really easy by hand. That's what I did. I used this 80 grit sandpaper. I used my hand. On some of the parts I would use like this little block of wood. You could just use a piece of wood and use that as a backer to help you get some of the flatter spots where the damage is. I also use these smaller pieces here on the sandpaper to help me get into the tighter crevices. I'm gonna post up some pictures here of the damage. I didn't take any video of myself making the repair, but I did take photos throughout the process from start to finish. I'm gonna post them here in the video and you can see how the repair progressed. And it was a pretty simple process. A lot of sanding was done. I put several coats. I think I did 2 layers of glass. I did 1 layer of glass. I let it cure. I sanded it down. I did another layer of glass. Let that cure. Sanded it down. And then, of course, I cut the glass to shape around that damaged area. And then once that was done, I sanded again. I didn't use any type of sealer or anything on top of that. Once it was all cured and sanded and cleaned, I went to the acrylic paint. The acrylic paint took a little bit of time to match the color of my board. I couldn't find anybody that would match the color of my board. I gave them the code from the Starboard website. There's some Pantone color code that they gave me on the website. Nobody has a clue what that means. I went to Home Depot, I went to Lowe's, I went to specialty paint shops. I said, can you guys give me this blue color? They had no idea what I was talking about. So I went to Walmart. I found acrylic paint for 50 cents a piece. And these are the paints right here. So these are the paints that I bought. I bought a bunch of different paints. I had no clue which one was gonna be the closest to my Starboard blue, which is this. So I took a piece of cardboard and I experimented with the paints. I kind of mixed a bunch of them together. I took the cardboard and laid it on my board, put it out in the sun and just kind of eyeballed it for like an hour. It took me a while to kind of eyeball it and get the mixture right. I cut the 2 pieces out that I liked the most. And these were the 2 pieces right here that I liked the most. They were the closest I could get to the blue. I believe I went with this one right here. This is the bright blue and cool blue. So it was these 2. What is it? Cool blue. Yeah. Where'd it go? And bright blue. So all you gotta do is take these 2 colors, just get a little popsicle stick, man, and just spread them around on this cardboard, and you can adjust the colors around and get it pretty close. I got it pretty freaking close, man, to where you can't even tell that it's damaged. You could see it from up close, but from far, it looks pretty good, I think. So the damaged area that I've repaired is on my rail, and it's right here. Can you see it? There's 2 spots. There was a little ding right here, and there was a big gash right here. But I made the repair, and I've already taken the board out a few times and tested it. I've had the board fully submerged. I think it's really good. I think this is gonna hold really nice. That fiberglass worked really good here. I got it nice and smooth. The color's not perfect, but I don't care. It works. I think it's really good if you can teach yourself how to do this, practice on a piece of wood, and if you ding your board up, you can fix it real quick. This is the rail right here. This is all it is really thin fiberglass, man, underneath here. It's so delicate. If you bang it, I mean, if you bump into it, you bang it into anything, it's gonna crack, it's gonna get damaged. You gotta be able to fix this stuff, man. So in summary, the epoxy stuff, you can get that for like 13 bucks on Amazon or anywhere. Some hardware stores carry that stuff. It's pretty cheap, it's good. Watch videos online to kind of get your head in the whole fiberglassing thing. Just take everyone's video advice, you know, with a great grain of salt. Some of the videos are kind of like, will go over your head. They'll like have you, these guys talk about like drilling holes on the outside of cracks and stuff. I don't think that's really necessary. So just kind of just absorb some of the stuff that you see in the videos. Practice on a piece of scrap wood or anything that you got. It's always good to practice before you actually make the repair yourself. Don't be afraid to sand your board. Just don't use power tools. Go by hand. Take your time. Don't sand too deep. Once you get that layer of paint off, you're going to start seeing the fiberglass. Once you see the fiberglass, that just ease off a little bit on the sandpaper and it'll be fine. The epoxy should stick even if there's a little bit of that paint that's still on there. Remove the vent screw on your SUP board during this whole process just in case some pressure builds up inside the cavity of the SUP board. I had the air vent removed and then reinstalled it once everything was cured up. The only thing that matters is sealing the damage on the board itself. That's the priority. You want to make sure it's sealed so when you go out in the water doesn't intrude on the internal structure, the internal foam of the board, and then weigh it down, and then you've effectively disabled the function of the SUP board. So the priority is to get that fiberglass and that epoxy on there and seal it real nice and good, sand it, paint it, and then priority number 2 is the paint, trying to get the paint to match. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be pretty close and it'll be fine. And that's it. If anybody has any questions, leave them in the comments below. Hope this helps somebody out there, and talk to you guys later.